Tonight, Olympic heartbreak for Sam Kerr. The Matildas captain cops a devastating injury. Her dad confirms the worst. The freak accident that sparked a car inferno in Perth's north. 9 American tourists in a miracle escape as a plane crashes on a barrier reef island. Dirt bike heroes help rescue a woman after a car rollover. The drama caught on helmet cams. Iconic trees at Kings Park set to go as destructive bugs wreak havoc. And Aussies shine bright. Our new Golden Girls star at the Golden Globes.
Live from Perth, 7 News with Tim McMillan.
Good evening. The Olympic dreams of Sam Kerr are in tatters tonight after she was injured at a training camp in Morocco. The Matildas captain has overcome incredible odds before, but with just 6 months to go until Paris, her family in Perth admits her chances are slim.
Sport's 3 dreaded letters. ACL.
Got some breaking news now. Massive blow for defending WSL champions and current league leaders Chelsea.
Sam Kerr was all smiles at Chelsea's Moroccan training camp.
First day in Morocco. Good. Sun's out, guns out.
And too soon, Sam's out, tearing a ligament in her knee. Heartbreak for the Perth superstar and her family.
Apparently she was just running and the ACL just went on her. It was pretty disappointing, upsetting, so we had a couple of restless nights. But yeah, look, she'll go for the op and get her ACL done. I assume it'll be 12 months.
The Paris Olympics football kicks off in 198 days.
It's disappointing, you know, she had a sort of injured World Cup and now we're all looking forward and Australia's looking forward to the Olympics and it's sad news.
Teammates sent their love and support on social media, from coach Tony Gustafsson. With her ability to lead by example, Sam's guidance and influence on the team is significant, and as a result, this will be an incredible loss for the national team. But Football Australia insists there's hope of a miracle by July 25.
Really, she's got to be up and firing in May and June to be good for July. The time frame just ruled her out as far as I was concerned.
This is just absolutely devastating, but just another player, right, that's done their ACL.
From the anguish of the World Cup calf tear, we know Sam Kerr's superhuman.
Kerr! What a goal!
The tally's since grown to 99 goals in 128 games for Chelsea. But demands and pressure only grow on a sporting icon.
The beauty of being at Chelsea is that there's a game every 3 days.
She's 30 now, so hopefully we're thinking one more Olympics, one more World Cup, so we'll see how her body holds up.
But the dream of Paris gold could now be over for Australia's Golden Girl.
She's a big fan of Cathy Freeman, so sort of that took her, and I think anyone would like her to play in Olympic Games. You know, it's a childhood dream for every kid, I think.
Hopefully that dream isn't over yet. Anna Hay, 7 News.
A freak accident involving a crane has sparked a car inferno in Malaga. It came into contact with power lines, bringing them crashing down on the vehicle, sparking the fire.
Hot wired by a power line. This Hyundai Getz burns at the gates of a Malaga industrial precinct, where at 9:30 this morning, a truck-mounted crane brought down a power line that ignited the vehicle.
The 6AR, we require Western Power as a priority. The power lines are down over the vehicle that is on fire.
With power still live, fire crews had no choice but to let the vehicle burn.
Oh no.
Workers at the neighbouring businesses captured City West concrete staff using fire extinguishers to stop the flames entering their yard.
Basically, the police were here within about 2 minutes and the fire had ignited the front of the car, and then, before you know it, the whole car was engulfed in flames.
The fire disconnected power to all the neighbouring industrial precincts for around 40 minutes. Now Western Power will have to disconnect it again as they replace the power line.
This is the first time I've ever seen anything like this, and I've been here about 12 years and nothing like that.
Harris Road was shut down for nearly an hour as Western Power crews finished the operation. WorkSafe is now investigating how the crane managed to bring down the power line and how everyone escaped injury. Ben Downing, 7 News.
A serial alcohol thief is back behind bars tonight, just hours after pleading guilty to a Christmas stealing spree. Live now to crime reporter Jerry Damassi. Jerry, you have exclusive details on what happened.
Well, Tim, Nicholas Rod was a free man for less than 2 hours this morning before allegedly offending again. Police say Rod walked out of court, got on a bus to Victoria Park and stole 2 bottles of spirits at a Liquorland on Albany Highway. Officers arresting the 29-year-old at a nearby park just a short time later.
Mr. Rod, are you going to stop stealing alcohol from bottlers?
Probably not. Well, 2 days in jail, it's all done.
So jail isn't going to stop your offending?
No.
Fines aren't.
Nicholas Rod and his girlfriend are behind bars here tonight at the Perth Watch House, and they will face a magistrate in the morning. Tim?
Thank you, Jerry. Tougher restrictions on the sale of liquor in our state's north are one step closer to tackle alcohol-fuelled problems in the Kimberley. The Director of Liquor Licensing has issued a show cause notice to licensees. It's planning to limit the sale of packaged drinks in Broome and Derby. It would include limiting the hours packaged alcohol can be sold from midday to 7 p.m, as well as limits on quantity. Business owners have until February 23 to respond to the proposed changes. A group of American tourists has miraculously survived a plane crash on the Great Barrier Reef. The pilot crashed into trees, attempting to make it back to the runway after the light plane's engine failed.
On its roof, off the runway, a light plane carrying holidaymakers leaving luxury and almost arriving at tragedy, the trauma of their ordeal written on their faces.
How are you feeling, sir?
Fine, alive and well. Very lucky. Very lucky.
It's virtually miraculous that the people would be able to be extracted from that aircraft and not have some sort of fatalities involved.
The light aircraft took off from Lizard Island on the Great Barrier Reef, but its engine failed during the climb. The pilot attempted to return to the airstrip, but during the approach crashed into trees and terrain 100 metres south of the runway.
Sometimes those runways might be a bit shorter than normal or a bit narrower than normal.
9 American tourists, including a 14-year-old girl and the local pilot, managed to escape the wreckage.
To walk away for something like that is just incredible.
But soon they were back in the sky, airlifted around 250 kilometres to Cairns by the Royal Flying Doctor and 2 rescue helicopters. One man had a fractured arm, another a head injury.
Otherwise, most are shaken but okay.
We're feeling okay.
Yeah, all good?
Yes, thank you.
Lizard Island has been an exclusive destination for movie stars and celebrities, but tonight the ritzy A-list hideaway is in an unwanted spotlight. Garth Burley, 7 News.
Wages have grown by 4% in a year, the fastest pace since 2009, but it's still not keeping up with inflation. Cost of living challenges have economists divided on when interest rates will start coming down.
They're some of the lowest paid professions nationwide: kitchen hands, cleaners, supermarket staff. But it's these hardworking Australians who have seen the biggest jump in their wages, up 6.7% last year.
We want people who work hard to be able to provide for their loved ones.
Overall, a 4% wage increase.
Wages are growing at their fastest pace in 15 years.
But as cost of living pressures rise with persistent inflation and global unrest, disposable incomes remain low.
We've got 4 kids and 2 mortgages. It's been really, really tough with the interest rates going up.
Every time you go shopping, it's gone up.
After 13 consecutive rate rises,
it's not enough to have rising wages. Wages have got to rise faster than prices.
This year, economists are divided over when rates will fall, the cash rate sitting at 4.35%.
We're expecting one more interest rate hike in February.
ANZ research predicts that there are no more rate hikes from the Reserve Bank.
At least by the June meeting, we think the Reserve Bank will be in a position to start cutting interest rates.
On Wednesday, the latest inflation data will be released. The monthly figures are notoriously volatile, but the government is confident overall it's trending in the right direction. A dip below 4.9% will be a welcome sign for family budgets.
Yeah, more food.
Isabel Mullen, 7 News.
A man has been confronted with what appeared to be a homemade bomb attached to his car. It was designed to terrorise him into taking down pro-Palestinian flags and messages, but the victim says he won't be intimidated.
I
scare of my life.
Theo discovering on the bonnet of his ute this, a petrol container stuffed with a rag, a lighter and bolts taped to it. Ringing 000.
They seemed to think it was serious enough to bring the bomb squad.
On it, a note saying, "Take down flag, one chance." Theo has been flying a Palestinian flag on his ute and in his front yard since mid-November, along with a message chalkboard on which he's also put his number.
Had one negative text message and one negative interaction with someone on the street and hundreds of positive ones.
Nothing like this.
I think it's a pretty clear display of cowardice.
Police weren't taking any chances, sending a specialist team. Officers from the rescue and bomb squad attended and deemed the item safe. It was not active, but just the idea of a container of fuel leaving locals jittery.
It's just, makes you think. What if somebody is silly or crazy enough to do something?
Detectives are now investigating just who was behind this threat that has left neighbours nervous and Theo determined.
Someone left a bomb in our yard. What can I say? We are scared.
But the flags are staying.
My partner and I are not interested in bowing down to terrorism. That's what it is. This is an attempt to terrorise us.
Paul Caddack, 7 News.
Trees that have stood for decades near Kings Park are about to be cut down because of a devastating insect infestation. The borer beetle has now been found in dozens of suburbs, and there are concerns it'll keep spreading.
The polyphagous Shothole Bor has no respect for age. These old Moreton Bay and Port Jackson fig trees have a date with the chainsaw, doomed by the borer that's got deep inside its trunk and limbs.
You can't get rid of the infestation. The only way that you can do it is actually to remove the tree or to prune back the tree.
That will happen in a couple of weeks. Kings Park is generally safe from the borer. Most of its 40,000 trees are natives and less likely to be attacked. But the Shothole Bor is sweeping across Perth. It's been detected in 80 suburbs.
Is it possible to find a chemical cure for this bug?
So far we've done trials to determine if you can actually basically treat a tree. It's been unsuccessful to date.
Nearly 2 million trees have already been inspected for the Shothole Bor. The Department of Primary Industry and Regional Development wants the public to help. It wants you to check your own trees, particularly if you have box elder maples, robinias, coral trees, Moreton Bay or Port Jackson figs, or the London plane tree.
Keep an eye out for signs of PSHB, like tiny holes in the tree trunk, discoloration or staining.
Suspicions can be reported on the My Pest Guide app or the Pest and Disease Information Service. Jeff Parry, 7 News.
A major flooding event is unfolding in Victoria tonight, with the state's central region bearing the brunt of heavy rainfall. Several towns are preparing to evacuate as water levels continue to rise, putting lives at risk.
In central Victoria, water as far as the eye can see. Paddocks now floodplains, entire communities cut off. This is Gornong near Bendigo. Residents wading through streets, sheep scrambling to higher ground. Backyards in Huntley underwater. Roads now canals. In Rochester, floodwaters edging close to that of 2022. Tonight, residents there are preparing their homes.
By mid-morning on Tuesday, that the Rochester Township will reach 114.8 metres.
While in Seymour, most are hitting the road, not risking a repeat.
This house did go under then. We just thought it's just best to get out.
Heathcote, the hardest hit, 184 millimetres of rain falling in just 24 hours. Records also broken in Bendigo.
92 millimetres, a lot of that actually fell in just a couple of hours.
Across the state, there has been over 1,200 calls for help, 38 flood rescues. Melbourne copped it too, the wet weather creating dangerous driving conditions.
The water's pretty much up to the seats. So yeah, can't open the door and get out.
And it's not just Victoria. Parts of New South Wales have also been drenched. Broken Hill breaking a 63-year-old record, almost half its yearly rainfall in just one weekend. Heather Richardson, 7 News.
Australian actors produced a gold rush at Hollywood's Golden Globes today. Elizabeth Debicki and Sarah Snook won personal acting awards, while Margot Robbie's Barbie took out 2 gongs as a box office smash.
Wearing an outfit inspired by superstar Barbie, Margot Robbie owning not just the look, but the title. Joining a lineup of Hollywood favourites for the first red carpet of the awards season. Glitz, glam, bold and themed. Oprah Winfrey in a nod to her movie The Colour Purple. But tonight's bombshell...
Oppenheimer! Barbie. Watch me.
The Barbenheimer Battle, starring Australia's leading lady, it won 2 gongs, including box office achievement.
It's about you. We made it for you and we made it with love, and thank you for loving it back.
But it was Christopher Nolan's Oppenheimer that came out on top, 5 Globes. Winning Best Director, he shared a tribute to a late Australian legend.
The only time I've ever been on the stage before was accepting one of these on behalf of our dear friend Heath Ledger.
Melbourne's Elizabeth Debicki.
Happy to find you on the cover. I was like, we've got to go back because there's an Australian interview.
Nominated for her portrayal of Princess Diana in The Crown, a likeness that won her Best Supporting Role.
To my mum and my Dad and Kush and Tommy, who are in Australia, hopefully in their pyjamas watching this.
Success for Succession, starring Adelaide's Sarah Snook.
This is your possibly your second Golden Globe tonight?
Yeah, possibly. Here we go.
One to bet on.
Sarah Snook!
It was a yes chef to The Bear for Best Comedy, Emma Stone Best Comedic Actress in Poor Things, Beef Best Limited TV Series.
One new category has pulled music's megastar. Taylor Swift Eras Tour is nominated, just as Australia plans to welcome the pop star down under.
Not the Singers' Night, but it was the screen stars who shone after months of disruptive strikes, bringing Hollywood back. In Beverly Hills, Jacqueline Robson, 7 News.
Weather time now with Syan. Vallence and Syan was even hotter than forecast today.
Yes, Tim, but if you thought Perth was warm, spare a thought for Port Hedland. It hit 47.8 degrees this afternoon. It's not a record, but it's not far off. Back in Perth, the overnight low was 20 degrees and we reached our maximum early, 36.5, just before 11 this morning. Beyond the city, it got even warmer. We saw some suburbs crack 40 degrees for the first time this year. Northam got all the way to 44 and it reached 41 in Bullsbrook and Ellenbrook. Looking at the satellite, this is all very typical of a WA summer. There's a high in the Bight and a west coast trough delivering our summer scorches. It will cool down slightly over the next couple of days and then plateau. I'll explain how after sport.
Thank you, Syan. Next in 7 News, frantic diplomatic efforts in the Middle East. Campaigning at the highest levels to stop the war spreading. An incredible rescue after a car rollover. The heart-stopping drama caught on camera. A gas leak triggers a massive explosion, an entire street engulfed. And how to save as kids prepare to head back to the classroom. That's later. Cameras have captured the end of a dramatic car chase through Perth's north. Neighbours say 7 teenagers were inside the Mercedes-Benz when it skidded to a halt in Butler around 3 p.m. They were captured on CCTV shortly after, fleeing the scene.
I heard a big bang, looked outside my window and all I heard was sort of smoke coming out of a car, and straight away I called the cops.
Police say the vehicle was stolen during an overnight burglary. They pursued it through Nollamara and Merriwa before seizing the car in Butler. Investigations remain ongoing. Frantic diplomatic efforts are being made to avoid an expanded Middle East war as the violence in Gaza spills over. Israel says it's dismantled Hamas infrastructure in northern Gaza, but maintains the job isn't done.
Every day brings fresh heartache in Gaza. This time, an Al Jazeera correspondent mourns his journalist son. Wael Dardou has already lost his wife and 2 other children in the war. With few other options, the dead are taken to hospitals. International doctors, though, are leaving for their own safety. The UN calling for the few hospitals still operating to be protected.
The staff inside of this hospital are heroes who are doing everything they can without sleep, without food, without knowing if their own families are safe.
America's top diplomat Antony Blinken shuttled between the region's capitals
to try to avoid escalation and to deter new fronts from opening.
trying to limit the fallout from a week that saw Hamas commanders targeted in Beirut. The Jordanian king, a key US ally, warned of catastrophic repercussions if Israel's war on Gaza continues.
The United States of America needs to send a clear and unambiguous message that America will stand with Israel today.
Without explicit US pressure to pull back, Benjamin Netanyahu telling a cabinet meeting, "We aren't stopping without victory." In London, Hugh Whitfeld, 7 News.
Air safety teams in the US are still trying to find the door that blew out from an Alaska Airlines flight. 171 passengers were on board when it happened, leaving a gaping hole in the plane. NTSB officials want help from the public to find it to help their investigation. At least 2 phones, believed to have fallen 16,000 feet to the ground, have been found. An entire road has been set alight after an explosion at an LPG station in South Korea. It was triggered by a leak which sent a wall of gas creeping along the road. It's believed drivers mistook the gas for fog before it ignited. Remarkably, no one was killed, but 5 people were injured, and there's significant damage to buildings and cars. We have extraordinary video tonight of the moment 2 motorcycle riders helped save a young woman from the wreckage of a frightening crash. It happened on a dirt road in rural Queensland, with the confronting scene all captured on their helmet cameras.
On a dirt track at Beerburrum, motorcycle riders Jesse Williams and his mate Billy Park see chaos ahead. A Toyota Hilux has rolled. A bleeding passenger waves them down.
You all good, bro? Get the driver out of the car. Driver's in the car.
With someone trapped inside, Jesse wastes no time.
Kick out the window from the inside. Yeah, that's what I do. Yeah. We're trying to get her out now. Kick it out. Come on, Kelsey. I'm going to drop this door.
The young woman is in a lot of pain. Jesse and one of the car's passengers work to move her out.
We're going to get you out. You're all good.
No luck. As the group waits for emergency services, Jesse tries another way.
Can I get behind it? Yeah, I can get from behind.
He climbs into the car from another window and, with the help of others, manages to free her.
You all right? All right.
Jesse uses his shirt as a tourniquet, the adrenaline still pumping.
That's hectic, eh? Yeah, it's still filming. Thanks so much, boys. No, you're welcome, bro.
A hero on 2 wheels, in the right place, at the right time. Dante Chacon, 7 News.
Furious tradies have been driven to extremes in a showdown over a driveway. Next, why they tore up their own work. A weight loss drug that's taken the world by storm rejected by the PBS. And later, a wonder of nature stuns scientists. Find out what these whales are doing. Politicians are under pressure to better target costs of living relief as WA's wealth divide grows larger. Charities say more people doing it tough are skipping meals, while economists predict it'll take years for wages to catch up.
After a season of giving and a year of cutting back, it seems more families have no room left to move, like single mum and former teacher Michelle.
There's times where you just have nothing.
She was among the long line that greeted Food Bank when it restocked and reopened today.
We had over 300 referrals sitting in the system ready for us to respond to, and this morning we had some 70 plus.
8 tonnes of food was given away by midday, more than an average full day a year ago, and charities are bracing for the return to school, forcing families to choose between food, medicine or books.
It's getting worse every week from what I can gather. You know, you go to the supermarket and things have doubled in price.
Despite the economy's books apparently looking better, inflation is easing but still rising, though wages should finally increase faster, according to 2024 forecasts.
It's going to take years, not months, before we get back to where we were before the start of the pandemic.
Demand even overwhelming government helplines.
We are experiencing a high number of calls at the moment and are unable to take your call. Goodbye.
Services Australia says wait times are longer than we'd like, and 1,000 new staff started today.
Both the Prime Minister and Premier are promising more cost of living relief, but not-for-profits say another power bill credit, while welcome, isn't enough.
We do have a lot of clients, though, that don't have a house.
But really there are very few other options available to the state government, far more options available to federal government.
Both preparing to pay a political price. Jessica Page, 7 News.
A group of angry tradesmen have taken the ultimate revenge on a customer who they say refused to pay. They videoed themselves destroying their hard work just to prove a point.
This is what happens when you don't want to pay for works carried out at your place.
An extreme act of frustration. Jesse Crowe and his small team laid this concrete days earlier. Their final act, making sure their hard work would go to waste.
Should have paid. Now it's going to cost more to get it all dug up, taken away and poured again.
Jesse says he negotiated the $6,000 job with the homeowner. She paid $2,500 but wouldn't budge on the final amount after a dispute over the cost of rubbish removal.
You're in the trade for a long time and you're doing the right thing by people and they don't want to pay at the end of the day, so what do you got to do?
Didn't want to pay, this is what happens.
As a small business owner with a young family, Jesse says he's tired of being ripped off and has threatened this before, admitting at this moment he'd had a gutful.
I don't like destroying something that I've just built. I take pride in my work and I love concreting and I love doing it.
The homeowner says she was threatened after complaining about the quality of the job.
You're paying now, or we will smash the concrete.
You would have paid them?
Of course. But they refused to finish the job.
Well, as you can see, once the concrete has set, it has certainly left a real mess. The family say they do intend to repair it themselves. The incident happened late last year, but was posted online just days ago, dividing opinions, while both sides remain firm.
They did what they wanted, not what I wanted.
I just want to get paid.
A bitter battle with no winners. Steve Hart, 7 News.
Weight loss drug Wovi has been rejected for the pharmaceutical benefits scheme. It's considered a sister drug to Ozempic and has surged in popularity globally. The drug's producer argued a PBS listing would ease the burden obesity has on the health system, but their proposal was rejected, called overly simplistic and unreliable. Police say they've cracked a criminal gang attempting to export more than $1 million of Australian reptiles to China. They've seized more than 250 lizards, snakes and their eggs so far, describing the smuggling operation cold-blooded and cruel.
Crammed into lunch containers, storage tubs, some tightly guarding their young. Police say these reptiles were bound for Hong Kong's black market.
This is a cold-blooded and cruel crime during which at least 257 native lizards were kept in poor conditions.
Authorities first found them in the post back in September. Strikeforce Raptors swooped, arresting 4 members of an alleged smuggling syndicate.
Going out into remote areas of Australia, Northern Territory, Western Australia, he would go out there regularly and trap and bring them back to different brands of chip packets, different cylinders packed into handbags, disguised around cereal containers.
At $5,000 each, detectives say the smugglers stood to make around $1.2 million. After being examined by vets, most of the animals have now been released back into the wild. Some remain in the care of experts for further treatment. 25 died after being rescued.
A lot of them would have gone through dehydration and starvation. They wouldn't have been fed and obviously no water. It's a death sentence for a lot of those lizards.
Jodie Lee, 7 News.
Next, a bitter pill to swallow as doctors ditch bulk billing. Fewer GPs are offering it, what it means for patients this year. Charity thief, a woman steals a collection tin meant for people in need. Plus later, how to save a few dollars on those back-to-school costs.
And coming up in sport, who replaces David Warner? Even teammates have no idea. Plus, more on Sam Kerr's devastating knee injury.
Now, Fuel Watch. Perth's petrol prices brought to you by Fuel Watch and 7 News.
Patients are coughing up more to see a GP as the number of clinics that bulk bill plummet. In WA, it's just 1 in 10. It's putting pressure on hospitals with growing calls for an urgent shake-up of our healthcare system.
Medicare started 4 decades ago and boasted a strong selling point.
The cheapest, simplest and fairest health insurance scheme Australia's ever had.
But today, many say it's outdated.
There's been years and years and years of neglect of the Medicare system.
The average out-of-pocket cost to see a GP has climbed to more than $41.
I don't go until I really have to because money's on my mind.
It just makes it so difficult.
The number of clinics bulk billing has dropped by 11% in the past year to fewer than 1 in 4 clinics.
Which in this case was largely driven by 514 GP clinics nationally switching from bulk billing to private billing.
Medicare rebates haven't changed despite inflation. They were frozen nearly a decade ago.
Everything has just really gone up, yet the rebate has not increased in any way.
The federal government has announced it would triple the incentive for doctors to bulk bill, particularly vulnerable groups.
Billions of dollars in new investments to try and turn this around.
But GPs are hopeful there will be a complete shake-up this year and that funding in May's budget will help. For the millions of Australians who can't afford healthcare, many have no option but to go to emergency departments, and that's putting more strain on public hospitals and frontline workers.
We need to take this as a dire warning of the future of healthcare in the country.
Angelique Opie, 7 News.
A heartless thief has been captured on camera stealing a charity box at a Launceston news agency. The woman used a pair of scissors stowed in her bra to cut the container free before making a quick retreat. The money was for those doing it tough over the festive period. Tasmania police say they have a suspect, but no charges have been laid. You're about to see incredible pictures of whales creating unique patterns in the icy waters off Antarctica. It's not a rare phenomenon, but capturing it on camera is.
Touring the ice-locked Antarctic, photographer Pete van den Bemd witnessed something spectacular and rarely seen so clearly. A perfect spiral made by whales.
From above you get those beautiful concentric circles, whereas if you're observing from the water, you might not see it.
This artful dance is actually a hunting technique, one of several in the humpback's arsenal. It's called bubble net feeding and works as the name suggests.
Their food is essentially driven into one area and then they'll come up from underneath and expand their throat and gobble up their prey from underneath.
The curious technique has caught the attention of marine researchers around the world.
As scientists, we don't exactly know how this behaviour has come about, but what we do know is potentially there might be some cultural transmission or teaching of others to do it.
Bubble netting has been documented closer to home on Sydney's south coast in 2020, but don't expect to see anything like that in the next few months, at least not until May when the Humpback Highway reopens and the northern migration begins.
A true conservation success story.
The East Coast population can be as much as over 40,000 individuals, and that's a lot of whale watching to be done in the 2024 season.
Perhaps we'll witness something as wonderful as this. Tom Hartley, 7 News.
Time now for a check on finance with Angela Cox, and Australian shares slipped again.
That's right, another lacklustre day following new jobs figures out of the US. They were stronger than expected and raised more concerns about how quickly central banks, including our Reserve Bank, will cut interest rates. The ASX 200 down 38 points. All 11 sectors took a hit. The material stocks among the worst performers. One standout, Cali Metals, was red hot on its ASX debut. The WA Lithium Explorers shares jumping 80%. The Aussie dollar dropped below 67 US cents. Gold, oil and iron ore prices all fell. And more evidence tonight that Australians are getting on board with rooftop solar panels. A record amount was sold in the last quarter of 2023, enough to generate 912 megawatts. Collectively, they provided almost 15% of our national energy needs in the past month.
Ben Cousins is here with sport now, and Ben, Steve Smith, is he the man to replace David Warner as our test opener?
Well, Tim, one of his teammates is definitely against it. A 7 exclusive next, plus more on Sam Kerr's devastating knee injury. Football Australia refuses to rule the West Aussie superstar out of the Paris Olympics. And Cameron Bancroft faces off against his former teammates in the Big Bash. Welcome back. Football Australia is refusing to rule soccer superstar Sam Kerr out of the Paris Olympics, despite the captain rupturing her ACL during Chelsea's training camp in Morocco. Kerr is out of Australia's Olympic qualifiers against Uzbekistan next month. The devastating news hitting the 30-year-old and her family hard.
I think she's a bit numb, as it is. It's, coming up to the Olympics and Olympic qualifiers and, Feb we were going over and it's disappointing. She had a sort of injured World Cup and now we're all looking forward and Australia's looking forward to the Olympics and it's sad news.
The Paris Olympics football is just 198 days away. Australian wicketkeeper Alex Carey says Steve Smith should bat at number 4, despite the vice-captain's push to fill David Warner's spot. The Aussie's still in the dark on his replacement, just 9 days out from their next test.
Time to relax for the Aussie Test team until the West Indies series starts next week. Until then, they're ready to be asked about nothing but David Warner's replacement.
Yeah, lots of questions, I guess, and some answers are going to come out pretty soon.
That could be tomorrow when the Test squad is named.
I'm not sure which way the Test squad will go and the selectors will go. There's some great candidates.
Those candidates: Cameron Bancroft, the leading Shield run scorer backed by Ricky Ponting; Marcus Harris, Warner's personal choice; Matt Renshaw and Cameron Green, the younger options; or the wild card, Steve Smith, pushed up the order.
He's done a pretty good job for Australia at number 4, so I wouldn't be changing it too soon.
16 years after her debut, Elise Perry, sporting icon.
As Perry looks to go big, clears everything.
The first Australian woman to 300 internationals, always a match winner.
Elise Perry not out with the winning runs in her 300th match.
Lovely to get the win, Mel. Probably just doing my job in the end.
The Aussies levelling their 3-game T20 series at 1-1 with a 6-wicket win. James Manton, 7 News.
Sydney Thunder opener Cameron Bancroft has failed to fire in his first outing against his former side, the Perth Scorchers, in Sydney this afternoon. Bancroft was run out for just 12.
The Cadich fingers up here.
Can we go to the other side, please?
Unbelievable.
Oh, he's gone. See you later. Go to the other side, thank you.
That is incredible. I think it's surprised the Scorchers. They've come from everywhere. Wow, Cameron Bancroft cannot believe it.
Ashton Agar was the best with the ball for the Scorchers. He took 2 for 6. Youngster Cooper Conley also impressive, taking 3 for 25. Perth chasing 138 to win. The boss of the Australian Open will meet with Rafael Nadal tonight to try convince the tennis icon to return to Melbourne next year. A hip injury has robbed the tournament of one of its biggest draw cards.
Stefanos Tsitsipas ramping up his bid to make back-to-back Oz Open finals, knowing there's another fan favourite he won't have to overcome. 2022 champion Rafael Nadal late last night confirming he has a micro tear on his hip, not in the same part he had surgery, but enough to rule him out of the tournament.
Rafa's the kind of player, he's not going to enter an event or go into an event unless he knows he's 100% fit to win it.
Australian Open chief Craig Tiley is hoping we haven't seen the last of the Spanish superstar in Melbourne and will plead his case during a private catch-up tonight.
The pitch to me, to him, unfinished business in Melbourne. Your fans want to see you, we're expecting to see you, but it's entirely up to him. We'll support whatever decision he makes.
It might be difficult. He was thinking already that this was potentially his last year.
Rafa is a big rap for Alex de Minaur, believing he now possesses the weapons to do damage at the pointy end of tournaments.
It is always great to see, the greats of tennis believing in you, so it always gives you an extra bounce.
The Demon rising into the top 10 for the first time, hoping his red-hot lead-in form can translate to success at his home slam.
That's what we worked on. I mean, not just to do it in 2-set matches, just to bring it for a whole 4 or 5 hours if need be.
While de Minaur got valuable practice time on Rod Laver Arena, qualifying was abandoned today on the outside courts due to rain. Brett Thomas, 7 News.
It's been a difficult start to the year for Sam Mitchell. The Hawthorn coach is still in the US battling a serious case of pneumonia, too unwell to make the 16-hour flight home. The Hawks return to training on Wednesday, while Mitchell will be phased back gradually over the next 2 months. He should make a full recovery. The Kansas City Chiefs are charging into the NFL playoffs after a 97-yard touchdown helped them beat the LA Chargers.
And he's going to take the rock all the way back for a Kansas City touchdown.
Celebrations went into overdrive when defender Chris Jones tackled the Chargers quarterback, earning him a bonus of more than $1 million. And missing Mo Salah and Virgil van Dijk, Liverpool pulled off an FA Cup heist. 2 late goals, knocking out Arsenal in the third round 2-0.
Wraps it up in style. No Salah, no Van Dijk, no worries.
5 months out with a hamstring injury, Kevin De Bruyne picked up an assist on his return for Manchester City, a 5-0 rout of their second-tier Huddersfield. And Tim, that's all in sport.
Good on you, Ben. See you tomorrow night. Parents are being warned to brace for higher back-to-school costs this summer. Most will fork out hundreds of dollars as kids head back to the classroom. But money experts say there are still plenty of big savings to be found.
Many families are still recovering from the Christmas crunch. They're now facing higher than ever back-to-school costs.
Cost is front of mind for parents.
School supplies expected to set parents back $1,200 per child.
It's going to be more expensive this year than it was for families last year. We do see credit card and buy now, pay later spending skyrocket in January because of all that financial pressure.
That's on everything from tech to school books.
Electronic devices are no surprise the biggest expense in every state and territory, followed by school uniforms, leaving parents more than $200 out of pocket. Sports gear, textbooks and stationery will set you back on average more than $100, followed by school bag essentials.
Then you have excursions and camps and, that's one that can really catch you by surprise.
There are ways to save on back-to-school costs. The advice is to reuse any items possible from previous years, opt for budget-friendly brands when it comes to basics, and ask if your school has payment plans or financial hardship programs available.
They might have 2 incomes and they're not used to feeling this financial pressure. They're not aware of all the programs and the availability of support out there.
Sarah Jones, 7 News.
Syan Vallence has our weather for us next, and the updated forecast is in.
And it's changed quite a bit, Tim. It'll still be hot, but nowhere near as hot as expected. Full details next. Hello again. Today was Perth's hottest day so far this year. I know we're only a week in, but still we reached 36.5 just before 11 this morning. That's 5 degrees hotter than the January average. Right now in the city, it's 25.6 degrees and the winds are southwesterly. Around the suburbs, it soared past 40 in the Swan and Avon valleys and reached 39 in Morley. It was much cooler all along the coast. Around the state, there's a heat wave warning for parts of the Midwest, Kimberley and Pilbara. Temperatures there in the mid to high 40s. In contrast, mid to low 20s on the south coast. Taking a look at the satellite, hot, windy and cloud-free across most of the state today. Tomorrow will be very similar, but there is the chance of thunderstorms in the state's north and drizzle on the south coast. It'll be warm and windy in the metro area and the southwest. Looking at the national forecast, they are having a very different summer to Perth. Showers forecast for Sydney, Canberra, Brisbane, Cairns and Darwin tomorrow, but not in Melbourne. Good news for the flood clean-up efforts there. Back in WA, a scorching 44 in Fitzroy Crossing tomorrow, a year on from its devastating floods. Kalgoorlie's heading for 41. It'll be windy along the coast in the Pilbara, Gascoyne, southwest and in Perth too. Here, winds on the waters will be southerly up to 30 knots, seas to 3 metres, swell to 1.5. Tomorrow, windy, sunny and 33, very consistent with the rest of the week's forecast. 33 on Wednesday and Thursday. It'll climb to 38 35 on Friday, then back to 33 on Saturday with the chance of a thunderstorm, 33 on Sunday, then partly cloudy, and you guessed it, 33 again on Monday. But there's no 33 in tonight's winning lotto numbers. They are 41, 36, 2, 27, 4, 32, and the supplementaries are 38 and 16. Those numbers again, 41, 36, 2, 27, 4, 32, and the subs are 38 and 16. Tim.
Thank you, Si. That is 7 News for now. I'll be back with updates throughout the evening, and enjoy the rest of your night here on 7.